if we're feeding kids in school, we're feeding them healthy food. And I will say this as someone whose family growing up was time and again on SNAP. We didn't call it SNAP then. And it was a really challenging experience. Set aside the financial circumstances that put us there, but just the experience at the grocery store and how stigmatizing it was. And the whole goal of the SNAP program is to eliminate hunger or reduce hunger as much as possible. And to do that, you have to reduce the stigma, or people are not going to use the program who need it. And I think that when you start relegating what people can and can't buy, there's already restrictions. You create different classes of grocery shoppers, and that goes back to undoing a lot of the work we've done to reduce that stigma. SNAP is an important program that fills gaps when people are struggling and they can't afford to put food on the table. And they should be making healthy choices, I think, but there's a lot of circumstances that prevent that, including the fact that there's not always healthy options available.
But you can understand the concern that government, in trying to help people that need food, are creating a second problem of obesity, heart disease, all these other things because of the type of food we're giving them.
Right. And I think the goal is that we want people to be on these programs for as little time as possible. Oftentimes, the less healthy options are the less expensive options. And so then you shoot yourself in the foot that someone doesn't have enough money to purchase the healthy food that they are restricted to. And then it ends up defeating itself.
Okay. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs in studio with us, our Talk to the Governor segment. So you signed a bunch of bills the last couple of days. Bruce just mentioned the first one about the food.
I signed a couple. There's a lot of vetoes.
Oh, okay. Let me get to the one that you signed. So it's a ban on cell phones in school classrooms. I don't think I like it. I want you to change my mind. I'm open to listening to this. I wonder how it's going to work. Because it seems like the onus is now on the teacher. There was no money that was put into this by the legislature. Because if I were writing it, I would have put money into it and got these little pouches that other schools have. Put the cell phone in the pouch. Touch it for the rest of the day. And I know that the children can use their phone as a tool. I know that's okay. But how do you? Like, what happens if a classroom or a school is not in compliance? There's no teeth to it, right?
I think one of the big differences between this bill that I signed yesterday and the bill also dealing with cell phone use in schools that I vetoed last year is that a lot of schools already have these policies. And so this bill doesn't require them to do anything else. But I hear from school administrators and teachers that cell phone use in schools is a big problem. It's a distraction from the classroom.
Right.
We hear about mental health issues, especially among children with social media use. That's compounded when they're using it at school. And so this bill, I think, really strikes the right balance. A lot of schools already have these policies in place. This bill allows those policies to continue.
But it kind of seems to me like kids can bring their cell phone into class, like always. And they can use it if they get away with it, and then there's really no punishment. And I'm wondering how the teachers are supposed to. And what about does it include like an Apple Watch? All these kids are using the Apple Watches.
Yeah.
Does that include the Apple Watch or no?
I'd have to go back and look and see if it includes that. I think we just the folks who worked on this bill, the stakeholders, are wanting to find the right balance so kids can focus on learning in school. Teachers. I think this onus really is on the school versus the teachers, and having the teachers have to be the enforcers. So, and I think there's a lot of support out there from the stakeholders wanting to help schools implement effective policies around this issue.
Yeah. Listen, it's a genuine issue. There's been a lot of studies on it. We had a conversation earlier where in places where they have enacted these bans, they've seen educational outcomes
I think it's because they had some money that went into it, and it went to purchase things that would keep because I can't figure out what the difference is between a kid going to school yesterday with a phone and a kid going to school today with the phone with this law.
Well,
that's what I'm struggling with.
The law's not in effect today, but
I know.
I know. Right. And look, I think we still haven't pass a budget, so there's room for conversation about if there's need for funding that in the budget for sure. But no, I hear you. I think with legislation, it's always about trying to strike the right balance, and this is something that folks have been working on for a while.
We have a special tomorrow, Governor Hobbs, called Highlight on Housing. It's going to be a 2-hour special here on KTAR with our ABC 15 partners. Yeah. And I know that one of the conversations that's going to come up in there is House Bill 2570, known as the Arizona Starter Homes Act, trying to create affordable housing options here in Arizona, which a lot of people are genuinely concerned about. Can you tell me where this bill is in its lifespan? Where do you see it right now?
Like much complicated legislation, it continues to be worked on, and I think it's one of those things that we'll see towards the end of the session, which I hope is very soon. We need the Republicans to bring a budget forward. So I think, and we talked about this bill last time I was here, for me, the primary concern is making sure that Arizonans are able to own these homes. And that's why we put forward an alternative proposal. That proposal is being considered as part of the discussions, and they're ongoing, and we continue to be actively engaged in them.
So help me understand that. What do we need to do then as a state, and what can you do as a governor to meet the demand for more housing, more affordable housing? I guess I should use the term.
Yeah. So there are lots of solutions. They can't all be done by the state. And certainly we didn't get to this place overnight. We're not going to solve it overnight. I talked about in my State of the State, taking aggressive action around short-term rentals and ensuring, again, that those aren't eating up all of the affordable housing supply in communities. We didn't see a bill on that make it through this year, but it's something that communities across the state want to continue to work on. We've invested a lot. We have invested enough for 3,000 shovel-ready homes to be affordable housing to be built. Our mortgage assistance program, the Arizona's Home Program, has helped 500 families afford new homes. So there's a lot of solutions. The package of bills I signed last year that helps to cut red tape and increase housing supply. Again, the starter home bill is another tool in that toolbox.
All right.
Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs, talk to the governor, Outspoken with Bruce Gaydos. What do you make of this plan that Trump has on the border, military bases along the southwest border strip? It'll allow soldiers to detain migrants. The tribal land in Arizona that borders Mexico is excluded. Okay. Why do you think he's doing this? And is it a good idea? Are you for it?
Look, I've been asking for more resources, including personnel at the border, since I got here. And so I think I would like to see more about how these plans will be carried out. But certainly it sounds like they also want folks to be working on wall construction or implementing technology. Those things are all going to be helpful. I don't know the details of how they're going to be played out, and so would like to see more of that. But I've been asking for more resources, and we need more resources, and so it is certainly somewhat encouraging.
Because this is on the Arizona. This is in Arizona. Would you go meet the president down at the border, talk about this, have a face-to-face if
Sure.
that's something that?
Yeah, I'll work with anyone who's going to address the needs of Arizonans, and border security is a top issue for many Arizonans.
What is the relationship the state of Arizona has with the tribes? The Tohono O'odham, specifically, I think, is the one that has the largest. I grew up in Tucson, so that's the only reason I can pronounce it. That has the largest strip there of no wall. I've been on the res before. There's barely even a 3-strand barbed wire fence in some places because their reservation is partly in Mexico, partly in Arizona. Is there any solution to that? Because I know that becomes quite a corridor.
Yeah, well, and off the top of my head, I can name 3 tribes whose boundaries cross the border. There could be more, but so I think collaborating with the tribes on how to ensure that their members have access back and forth, but that we're able to secure those areas. Those are areas where technology might make more sense than a wall. But again, making sure we're collaborating with the tribes, understanding that they have tribal sovereignty, and which is why the tribal lands were excluded from the militarization order. And so there absolutely is room to work on that with them. I know when the Lukeville Port of Entry was closed, we worked with the Tohono O'odham because it was a big issue for them because a lot of people then were crossing through tribal lands instead.
Right.
So yeah, and we've worked really hard to build relationships with the tribal communities across the state on a multitude of issues. So we certainly could help broker conversations there.
Fair enough.
We've got the governor in studio. Katie Hobbs is joining us. Governor, you were with Representative Stanton today. Okay, you're talking to businesses. You're talking about the economy. What are you getting from businesses? Are you getting panic? Are you getting, hey, we don't really know what's going on in D.C., tariffs, et cetera, uncertainty? What are you finding out when you're going out and you're doing things like you did today with Stanton?
Yeah, our focus was exclusively on tariffs and how they're impacting particularly small businesses. We know they're impacting businesses, small and large, across the state, across the country. And there are unique impacts in different industries. And so today we talked to the brewers. I don't think there's anything more American than brewing beer. And
right.
It's a fun way to talk about a hard situation. But, especially the tariffs on aluminum is problematic for them. But a lot of these brewers have restaurants attached. And so the profit margins there are already very thin. And so we heard, the tariffs are going to eat into that. There's no way that they cannot pass the cost onto their customers. With craft beer, that used to be something that they could do because they were unique and special. But now there's like so many that it's just gonna go up across the board and hurt their bottom line. And with restaurants as well, that margin is also very thin. And so it's hurting them. And it's not just the actual tariffs, but the uncertainty about what's coming next. People were already seeing cost increases before the tariffs went into effect. And it's making them skeptical about future investment, future growth, hiring new people, things like that. These tariffs are not good for the economy, whether you're talking to small businesses, consumers, big business, whatever it is.
Something that just happened today that I know you're aware of is, can we call it the Axon bill? The bill that will clear a path for Axon to expand its headquarters. It's now passed the House, the Senate. That means it goes to you, if I remember my Schoolhouse Rock well enough. Will you be signing that to keep Axon here?
I'm still looking at the bill, but what I can tell you that I'm focused on is building and bringing companies to Arizona that are going to create jobs. And Axon bought state land. They were committed to building their headquarters here. And then they wanted to do more. They want to build housing for their workforce on the site, which is where kind of all of the controversy started.
The apartments argument. Yeah.
I think it's great that an employer wants to provide a solution to an issue we're facing in Arizona. And that's giving them more incentive to be more invested and stay here. So, I think they've done things that I want to keep them here if we can. I'm still considering the bill. And we've been involved on, all sides of the conversation as the bill moved through the process.
All righty.
You're signing that bill, right? You got a feeling you're signing that bill.
Still looking at it.
Still looking at it. Okay.
Right. It's a hard maybe, is what I got out of that.
Big company, good for Arizona, right? Okay, So you look through it. And would you change anything in it to make it 100%? Yes, I'm signing it.
Well, I can't do that. So
can you yell down there and say, hey, listen, change this, send it back to me?
I mean, there was an original version of the bill that was like very unconstitutional.
Okay.
A lot of that got fixed. So
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Governor Hobbs, Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Sincerely appreciate it.
Thanks, Governor.
Thanks.
All right, our Talk to the Governor, our conversation we get to have exclusively with Governor Hobbs. We'll have you back in studio soon, and there'll be a whole new rash of things we'll be dealing with, all right? Appreciate your time today. We have a quick check of the headlines, and then we're going to react to some of the things the Governor said. It's coming up next. Outspoken on KTAR.
John Roller live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. We're looking at crashes at 39th Avenue and Indian School Road. Also have a collision Northern Avenue just west of 81st Avenue. 43rd Avenue and Baseline, a crash there. And a crash at State Route 74 and Castle Hot Springs Road. Eastbound lanes restricted there. Traffic is brought to you by Dolphin Pools. Beat the heat and enjoy your custom pool from Dolphin Pools, your one-stop shop for your dream backyard. Visit us today at dolphinpools.us. John Roller, KTAR News.
At Precision Air and Plumbing, we believe clean water